We're excited to welcome our next speaker, Jon Lakefish, founder of Lakefish Group and one of the most in-demand voices when it comes to making AI practical for business. Jon has worked with entrepreneurs, marketers, and leadership teams across the country, helping them use AI to save time, reduce costs, and focus on what really drives growth. He's here today to bring that same energy and insight to GrowCon, with a session designed to help all of us adapt with AI, starting right now. Please join me in welcoming Jon Lakefish.
What do you think? Good introduction? So I'm guessing that most of you could tell that that was AI generated. Show of hands? Okay, perfect. What was that? So that's why, because I did not clone his voice. We'll talk about that in a little bit. But here's what's going on. So I'm fortunate enough to travel the country and do presentations on adapting AI for small to medium-sized businesses. This is probably my 70th, 80th presentation. I've got 4 more this week. And 2 weeks ago, this was not something that I was even willing to share with anybody, because the video content and how it portrayed the person was garbage. You would have known at the blink of an eye that it absolutely was not that person. But for the first time, this platform, which is called Hedra, H-E-D-R-A, is a platform where all you need is an image of the person, which I got from Roger's LinkedIn profile, and an audio clip. And the audio clip, if you can imagine, I went into ChatGPT and I said, hey, I'm speaking at GrowCon in Provo, Utah in early May. I'd like you to do research on the event, what type of folks are going to be there, and then I want you to create an introduction that Roger, who hosts this event, will do as he presents me. And what you saw was a copy and paste of the product that was delivered to me by ChatGPT. It was crazy. So those 2 tools popped into Hedra, and you get a video like this. This is going to change the world that we operate in, and there's going to be a whole bunch of stuff that's going to change the world that you operate in, and it's coming down the pipeline every single day. Before I get into the bulk of the presentation, there's 2 things I want to say. First, if you don't leave here today feeling 100% confident that you can use these tools tomorrow morning, then I failed at my job. Because these tools are so easy to use, you can't break them, there's nothing that can go wrong, other than you need to make sure that you check it. That's where people have problems when it comes to AI, is they copy and they paste, and then somebody sees something that's incorrect, and the whole world breaks loose because your CEO says, wait a second, that's not us. But when you leave today, if you're not comfortable using these tools, please find me. I've got a table in the back, and ask me to show you specifically on my keyboard how to use some of these tools. So that way, when you do leave, you feel comfortable. Does that sound like a plan? Good deal for everybody? Okay, so at the end of this presentation, I'm going to ask you to raise your hands if you've learned something and if you're ready to implement it. If you don't raise your hand, I need to talk to you before this conference is over. So please, take that to heart. The second thing that I want to talk about is kind of who I am and why I'm here. So I am a husband of 22 years. Beautiful wife. She's the reason that I'm able to do this. I had a corporate job, 22 years. I was the head of marketing and branding for 2 or 3 billion-dollar brands, and then a couple of iconic brands in the Puget Sound area up in Seattle. And in 2017, my youngest son, who you see up here, came down with a pretty severe medical condition. And so over the course of 3 years, he spent 180 days in the hospital, going through several surgeries. My wife and I split nights in the hospital. And when he came out, right before the pandemic began, I turned to my wife and I said, hey, I'm lucky I had the job that I had when he wasn't feeling well, but I really want to get back to my roots, which is helping small to medium-sized businesses grow. Are you okay if I quit my job and start my own company? And she said, yes, but let's wait till the pandemic's over. So fast forward 2 years later, and I finally quit my position. So it's been 3 years now that I've been doing my own thing. And the one thing I can tell you is AI has allowed my company to grow faster than I ever could have imagined, because I use it as if it is an amazing employee in several different disciplines. So it can be my legal advisor, it can be my contract negotiator, it can be my social media content creator, it can be my email drafter, it can help me craft website designs. There are so many things we can use AI for that most people have no concept of. So when you leave today, what I'd like you to think to yourself is, I have a project I need to work on. First thing I'm going to do is go to one of the AI platforms and interact with it and see if it can help me with this project. Because it should save you a gigantic amount of your time, therefore also adding to your bottom line. It's a huge deal. So show of hands, who in here has used ChatGPT? Okay, who in here uses the paid version of ChatGPT? So smaller. Who's heard of Claude? Okay, we're getting smaller. How about Gemini? Okay, some of you. How about 11 Labs? So we're getting a little bit smaller. Opus Clips? Okay, wow, I love it. So for 2 years, typically as I go through that list, it gets down to like 1 or 2 people, or the marketing people. Because the marketing people tend to be the ones who have jumped into this the most quickly. So as we go through this, if you have any questions or if you have any advice as I go through some of these, please, anybody that's used these tools, pop in and kind of offer some of your expertise if it makes sense. I'm also a very casual speaker, so if you have a question, raise your hand. I'm happy to pause for a minute and we can answer them together. My oldest son, Carson, is a tech genius, and the reason I learned about ChatGPT was he's at a college in Seattle called DigiPen, which is considered the best game programming college in America. And he came home the day ChatGPT launched and said, hey, our professors introduced us to ChatGPT today to show us that it can help us write code for video games. We can pop in our code, and we can say, are there any bugs in the code? And it will pop out the code having removed the bugs. And so he brought it home. He showed it to me on my laptop. The next day I sat down. I'm like, hey, I'm the head of marketing for XYZ company. Can you help me create a radio script for 30 seconds? Here's some information on who our company is. And it created it like that. That was my aha moment where I said, okay, ChatGPT is going to be a part of everything that I do. It's a part of everything we do for our clients. It's a part of everything we do for presentations like this. So you're going to have some fun today kind of learning some new things. I mentioned earlier, so I've worked for billion-dollar brands. I was head of marketing for Outback Steakhouse and Bonefish Grill in the northwest part of the country. Actually, the gentleman that owns all of those locations now owns all the Outback Steakhouses here in Utah as well. He's originally from Utah, spectacular man named Jeff Jones. I was with him for 15 years. And then I switched over to the fastest and hottest restaurant company in America called Matador. We built them from about 4 restaurants to 15, spectacular. And most recently, I was the head of marketing and branding for a development company that is building 7,500 homes in the Puget Sound area, the biggest developer in the Northwest. And we took them from 0 homes sold to 1,500 homes, and then I stepped aside and started my own company. But throughout that process, the one thing everybody's always said about me is that I focus everything we do on data, and I focus everything we do on the customer experience. And for a lot of people, that seems contrarian. You think that, well, data will tell you what you need to do, but my undergraduate degree is in psychology. And so when I look at the data, I look at it through the lens of customer service and customer interaction, and it allows me an opportunity to say, okay, how do we connect more effectively with these people? And it works spectacularly well. And then I have an MBA from UW as well. But I will tell you the most valuable degree I've ever had is my psychology degree because it helps me interact with people. So before we jump into artificial intelligence, I'm going to play a video. If you've seen it before, don't shout out, but take a look at this.
The monkey business illusion. Count how many times the players wearing white pass the ball.
Okay, how many?
The correct answer is 16 passes.
Okay, but
Did you spot the gorilla?
show of hands. So less
For
than
people
half.
who haven't seen or heard about a video like this before, about half missed the gorilla. If you knew about the gorilla, you probably saw it. But did you notice the curtain changing color or the player on the black team leaving the game? Let's rewind and watch it
Anybody
again.
see the player leave or the color change? Couple.
Here comes the gorilla, and there goes a player, and the curtain is changing from red to gold.
That is the monkey business illusion. The reason I share that is because for my entire career, one thing that's been ingrained in me is something called perception is reality. And that means that however people perceive your company, your organization, you as a person, that's what they perceive of your brand. So from everybody to the person that answers your phone, to the receptionist at the front desk, to the CEO of a company, perception is reality. And for the first time in history, we can create things, content, messages, brand standards, brand stories for our customers, for our core audience, in ways that we've never been able to do it before. We can create those with the help of AI, and then we can take those and we can share them with our customers, and then we can measure whether that truly is resonating with the people that we want it to resonate with. And if it's not, guess what? We can change it. And it doesn't cost much because you have tools at your disposal now where you can change it. For example, I had a conference where I spoke to a group of ad agency folks and the print company that did a lot of the movie poster printing. And we had the group create a movie title and a theme and a slogan and a main character and the image and the background, all live in person with AI. And then the company took that and they printed actual movie posters for everybody in the room to take home with them at the end of that presentation. And we did that because the print company wanted the people in the audience to know how easy it was to generate a movie poster, print it, and pass it out. So when you create content, you can print one or you can print 4 and ship them to different parts of the country, confirm which one resonates the most with your audience, and then you can print that one over again. And it doesn't take any additional time away from you. It doesn't take the tens of thousands of dollars you'd pay a graphic designer to do it usually, or the copywriter, or the designer, or if it's a TV ad commercial, the voiceover. You don't have to pay for any of that anymore. It's all at the tip of your fingers using AI tools. So perception is reality.
If you are not using AI tools every day of your life, you're making a huge mistake. You've got to start training. Whether you need it or not is irrelevant. You're gonna need it and you're gonna interact with it every day, so the faster you're good at it. Remember when you met executives 20 years ago, 10 years ago, that still don't even use email and they have their secretary print out the email, when it felt so weird? That's how not using AI will feel.
Gary Vee is a unique gentleman in that he's a little rough around the edges sometimes. But he has a perspective on AI that I don't think very many people have, and it's quite similar to mine. I heard Roger say earlier that you're not going to lose your job to AI. You're going to lose your job to somebody else who knows how to use AI if you don't. That's the future of what we're doing, and that's why I'm traveling the country to encourage small business leaders to start adopting these things today. My whole career, I was on the client side, and I was spending $60,000, $80,000, $100,000 for a TV commercial. And at that time, it was just typical. Well, guess what? With the gig economy and AI and copywriting and voiceover, we can do award-winning commercials now for $6,000 or $7,000. But guess what? The big agencies are still charging $100,000 for that. And as small to medium-sized business owners, you can't afford that. But when I was the head of marketing for Outback and Bonefish, we operated as if it was, where I was, 45 small individual businesses in 45 small different cities. And when we did that, that meant my budget was limited. And I had to operate on a shoestring budget. So I started learning how to do things like using the gig economy, and now using AI, and now using voiceover tools, and image generation, and all of these things to create these messages that resonate with our customers more than they ever have before at a fraction of the price.
If I was 16, 18, 20, 21, starting today, I would spend every waking minute learning about AI. Even if I'm sleeping, I'm listening to podcasts talking about AI, trying everything. Because my whole Instagram and TikTok feeds are now AI hacks. It's one thing to have a business and how you integrate AI, that's one thing. But if you're just getting started, as you learn these things, it's so much easier to start. Now you have a mentor, whether you use Perplexity, Anthropic, Claude, ChatGPT, Gemini, it doesn't matter. You have experts, and you might say, well, those hallucinate. Let me just tell you, your mentors and experts don't always get it right either. Right. So you've got these experts who can answer questions and help you understand what you don't know. You've got these tools that'll just spider everything, that'll do your emails, that'll do sales calls for you. Are you kidding me?
Crazy. How many are using AI now to help you draft emails? Okay, how many are using it to draft annual strategy plans? Analyze your financials. Analyze questions that your team has had for months that you just can't find an answer for. I like this. Okay, so some of you are starting to use it. And we're going to get into an actual example with AI in here in a minute so everybody can kind of get a sense of how easy these tools work. But there's something that we call training the model. And when you get into ChatGPT, it's not as simple as just saying, hey, can you answer this question for me? It's literally about creating a folder that's your brand. For me, it's Lakefish Group. And then I go into that folder and I upload 75 documents about my brand. It's my brand standard, it's my colors, it's my website copy, it's newsletters that have been written about me, it's newsletters that I've sent out to clients. It's everything that says who I am. And that folder then knows everything there is to know about me. Okay, so that's step number one. Then I get a client, and the client says, hey, we'd like you to do XYZ for us. So I go in, and I create a project for my client, where I upload everything I can find out about that client. So we truly understand the brand voice, the tone, the colors, the creative that they've already done, the results from their social media posts, whatever information we have out there, we upload that into the platform. And then when I go back, I'm like, hey, this client is really looking to grow more in the Salt Lake City area. Can you help me craft some content that will help us get out in front of our customers? Make sure you stay on brand and on voice for us. And here's what I want to focus on. And it will create that content for you. It is not one and done. You cannot copy and paste. I cannot say that enough. No matter what you do, you need to review it. You have to have what's called a human in the loop. You have to have a human in the loop with everything to make sure that it's accurate. As recently as yesterday, it screwed up. For the presentation I'm giving today, it made a mistake, and I'll tell you about that in a minute. But those are the kind of things where if I hadn't have caught it, then Roger and Christy would have said, wait a second, John, those aren't two of our sponsors this year, because for some reason it pulled sponsors from last year. Don't know why. So just make sure that you're always having a human in the middle. So if you're on your computer at home, I might recommend that at some point you get ready to do some screen captures, because we're going to share some things like which platforms I think are the best. So be ready for that. And for those of you in the audience, feel free to pull out your cameras, because we're going to get some points where we share some of the biggest tools, and you can kind of get an idea. And I'm here for the next couple of days. I fly out, I think, first thing Wednesday morning. So if there's anything that you missed, just grab me.
Wendy just came up to me and was acting all hurt because she thinks I don't care about her. Uh-huh. When she said that she wishes I would reply to her text the way that Clyde responds to babies, so, how do you do it? ChatGPT, dude. ChatGPT? Yeah, dude. There's a bunch of apps and programs you can subscribe to that use OpenAI to do all your writing for you. People use them to write poems, write job applications, but what they're really good for is dealing with chicks. Here, check it out. There's tons of ChatGPT apps for your phone. So then I can take whatever latest dumb thing Bebe texted me, I copy it, then I open the GPT app, click respond to, paste her text here, hit write, it just thinks for a second. You would look great with any length of hair, trying a new look could be fun. Copy that into messages and send it off. It's super easy and convenient, and it saves me a ton of time because she texts me so goddamn much. Jesus Christ! I probably won't do it, but thanks for being supportive. Cut, paste, write, cut, messages, paste, send. There.
So that's how we all kind of thought ChatGPT was going to operate when we first got it, right? Like, hey, write a Jingle Bells song in the style of Quentin Tarantino, and people were just having fun and playing with it. And these guys, the founders of South Park, this episode was actually created. So the founders created the first 21 or 22 minutes of the episode. And the founders of South Park went into ChatGPT, uploaded the first 21 minutes, and said, we want you, ChatGPT, to create the last 5 minutes of this episode for us. So if you hop online and you look for the ChatGPT South Park episode, you can watch the entire thing. Another example of people saying, let's try this new technology. Let's see how good it is. Now, I will tell you, it's probably not the best episode, but this was also 2 years ago. So the way that things have advanced in the last 2 years, like back when they did this, you couldn't teach it about your brand. It didn't have the ability for you to upload dozens of files or read scripts from different episodes that you've done in the past. They had to do that all manually into one gigantic string of text. Now it doesn't have to do that. And then this is kind of the overwhelming slide for everybody. There's over 2,000 AI, ML, which is machine learning, and data companies in the world as of, this was 12 months ago. The new sheet is coming out shortly, and I'm going to guess it's going to increase. This is where people in the room tend to get overwhelmed, because where do we start, right? And that's what my team helps with, is we kind of come out and we say, okay, if you're looking to do this, here's where we would start. So there's 7 major players in what I would call the LLM game, and it's soon to be agentic game, and we'll talk a little bit about agents in a minute. But ChatGPT is kind of leading the way, still is. Every once in a while, somebody else pops in front of them, and then within a few days, ChatGPT's back and it pops in front. DeepSeek, I don't like to say it, but DeepSeek is actually really, really good. However, there is the Chinese connection, and there's a little bit of questionability about their security protocols, so might be cautious about that. Grok is Elon Musk's AI platform. It's pretty good as well. Gemini, I'm not a huge fan of. I've tried it as recently as last week, and it doesn't seem to give me the right answers. Perplexity is pretty good, although I asked it to do a project for me about a month ago, and it basically just fed me back exactly what I put in, so it didn't help me at all, which was unfortunate. And then you have Claude, which is part of a company called Anthropic. Claude is considered the second best, if not the best, LLM platform in the world. ChatGPT and Claude tend to go back and forth. And then Apple, of course, is building their own platform. And then most of you know this software, this package, this AI, ChatGPT was the most adopted form of technology in the history of mankind, with over 100 million users within 8 weeks. And then by the end of 2024, they were already up to 300 million weekly users. So this is here to stay. So I have to get that through to everybody in the room. If you're not using AI right now, you need to start. Yeah, do you have a question?
Yeah, what are your thoughts on Copilot?
So you'll see in a minute, Copilot is actually the worst of the list of AI agents. And I've had some conversations with some companies because there are a lot of companies out there that have asked their employees to only use Copilot. And those employees have come up to me and said, I've used it, but it's garbage. I don't want to use it. It's not what I want to use. So there's a study by Fast Company, which I'll show in a minute, and it will confirm that Copilot and Llama, which is Meta's LLM, are both considered to be the least effective or provides the most amount of incorrect answers. Yeah? ChatGPT in a heartbeat, yeah. And I would get the $20 version if you can. There's a free version, but if you get the $20 version, you can turn off the sharing of your data. Well, let me rephrase that. You can turn off the learning from your data, which you're going to want to do. It's under the settings profile. That way, whatever you put in there is secure to you, and they're not learning from your data. Does that make sense? If you're on the free version, nothing's free, so they are going to learn from your data. Right, that's one of the challenges with AI today is when we create new things for clients, we have to be honest and say, this is perfect for today, and it's going to last for quite a while, but we are probably going to have to invest in updates as we go through the development process, because if you're using ChatGPT $20 a month, that's awesome. Some clients want to use ChatGPT Pro, which is $200 a month. So that's a more expensive model, right? So if we're asking our clients which one they want to use, they need to understand that the pricing for the Pro version will be quite a bit more. Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, so with that said, there are ChatGPTs
Yes.
that have been created, and some of them are very good.
Yeah.
However, some of them were not thank you, Robbie. Okay, I was saying that with this concept of having to update with the models,
Yeah.
there are tax GPTs
Yeah.
that have been created, and some of them are very, very good.
Yeah.
However, they were created on previous models that did not have access to the deep research.
There you go.
And some of the mathematic functions,
Yep.
you know.
So
that-
there's the human in the loop process, right? You need to confirm it. I'll be the first to admit that I actually had ChatGPT Pro help me with my taxes this year. I pulled up all of my credit card receipts and I uploaded them. I said, hey, can you find everything that we think could be tax deductible for my company? And then I listed like 30 things that I knew were going to be. And it came back and it gave me everything in a spreadsheet and told me exactly what I could deduct. So it was spectacular. So those are the kind of things that can come out. But you're right. This is the human in the loop process, because you can't just do it, pop it in your spreadsheet and send to the IRS, because if you didn't review it to make sure it's all accurate, then that's on you, right? So, okay, let's keep
it's Ryan
going.
Reynolds, owner of Mint Mobile. We're always looking for ways to save you money. So this year, we're kicking things off with an ad that I created using ChatGPT, the AI technology. This is what I asked it to write. I said, write a commercial for Mint Mobile in the voice of Ryan Reynolds. Use a joke, a curse word, and let people know that Mint's holiday promo is still going, even after the big wireless companies have ended theirs. This is what it wrote. Hey, it's Ryan Reynolds here. Eerie. First of all, let me just say Mint Mobile is the shit. But here's the thing. All the big wireless companies out there are ending their holiday promos, but not Mint Mobile. We're keeping the party going because we're just that damn good. Give Mint Mobile a try. And hey, as an added bonus, if you sign up now, you'll get to hear my voice every time you call customer service. Just kidding, that's not really a thing. Stay classy, everyone. That is mildly terrifying, but compelling.
That pretty much sums it up. Moderately terrifying and yet compelling, right? And again, that took him 30 seconds to film in his office, and he got 2 million views on YouTube. So the things that these tools can do are spectacular. I'm going to 77% of companies are currently using AI or are looking to use it. There's another stat that says 80% of employees are using it but not telling their employer. So keep that in mind. I mean, I've had clients where they say, hey, my team member sent out an email and then he left the office, that's a sales email, and the email was 6 paragraphs long and didn't sound anything like him. And so I pulled him aside the next day and he said, oh, well, I used ChatGPT to write it. And I said, well, did they train the model on their voice? Did they upload some of their best sales emails that they've crafted before? Did they let the tool know that they like to be a little bit more casual in tone and they don't really want it to be over 2 paragraphs in length and they probably want it to be bullet pointed? And he said no. I said, well, that's why it failed, because he didn't train the model. He just went in and said, write an email for this, and it did it, but not knowing exactly what it needed to know to do it in the right fashion. So I'm probably going to skip this slide. So Khan Academy's, what they're saying, and it's a great quote by the founder, for the first time in history, students, regardless of location, socioeconomic background, orientation, anything, can all be taught the way they need to be taught to maximize their scores and to maximize their level of intelligence. The way he says it is that an exceptional student becomes an extremely exceptional student, and a below average student can become an average student because they get to be taught the way they need to be taught. And there's a school in Austin, Texas that's called Alpha. They've been AI specifically for about 8 years now, more so since ChatGPT launched. They do 2 hours of schoolwork a day. The teachers are there to help guide the AI tools that are helping educate the kids. The other 5 hours a day, the kids focus on teamwork, presentation skills, passion projects, and their test scores pop in the first top 1% and 2% in the country. It's a spectacular model. It's controversial, but it's spectacular. There are still teachers that help, but the main focus is a tool that is designed to fit the student the way the student needs to be fit. So we're going to skip that.
I think we're... Have you guys
and then
seen
this
what
is
happened
Gary
to
Vee
the
talking about a
Portugal
company in
created
Belgium
an
that
AI
made
bot
$100 million
and did $100 million in sales?
by creating its
Anybody
own
aware of that?
AI
Make some noise.
platform. It features all the amenities for 5,000 different properties listed in Belgium. So when people log on, they don't need to rely on a sales agent to tell them about it. They can go to the platform and they can ask any question about any property and get an answer immediately that's accurate because it's been fed into the tool. So AI is going to help you create better content, create better graphics, maintain a consistent voice, analyze data, and challenge your competition. These are the tools that I think are the best tools available right now. ChatGPT is an LLM. Grok is actually pretty good, and DeepSeek's good for secondary options. Ideogram and Midjourney are graphic design platforms that create images for you. Sora is ChatGPT's video generation platform, which also does images now. And then you have Opus Clips, which takes long format and cuts it into short format. Remini, which is a headshot platform. SoundRaw, which does music backgrounds. And 11 Labs, which does voice. So we're going to go through something real quick here. So here's what I did to be as consistent with this group as possible. Before you ask, being polite does matter. I know most of you don't believe that, but if you're polite to the tool, you will get better answers. Data has proven this. So you need to treat the platform like it's your best employee. You have to provide clear direction. You have to say things like, I'd really love your help doing this, or would you mind acting as my chief marketing officer and help me understand what we need to do to increase our sales and take market share from our competition? And you have to be polite because you're going to get a better answer. Some of us can't do that. Some of us are very, when it comes to leadership, we have our skills and we have our opportunities. But the more polite you can be, the better the answers are that you're going to get. So what I did, and we're going to go through this fairly quickly, I asked an AI, I'm going to do an AI keynote Monday for GrowCon. Can you review their website and basically learn everything you can about them? Who's going to be in attendance? What companies are going to be there that are represented? What industries are represented? And I want you to do research while you do this and come back and tell me everything you can discover. So it did, and we're not going to go through it all. But it says that it's 2025, May 5th to May 7th, Utah Valley Convention Center, designed for owners of bookkeeping and tax accounting companies. They're there to streamline business operations, implement scalable systems, enhance client acquisition strategies. Additionally, GrowCon provides a vibrant community for attendees to share insights, form partnerships. Pretty spot on. Yeah? Of course. And this video, I believe, is going to be available online after the presentation is done, too. Of course. So it gives you all of this, right? But then it goes on and it says, guess what? Here's the audience profile. And it goes through and it says firm owners, and who are they? And growth-oriented professionals, and who are they? And technology enthusiasts and strategic thinkers. These are the people that are going to be in the audience that you're speaking to. And then it goes on to, and guess, here's the industries that are represented. This is all from that one question that I asked, and it's giving me all of this information so I can really understand who all of you are, so I can tailor this presentation to you specifically. Every one of these presentations that I give have a large portion that is brand new because it's tailored for the audience that's here. So you guys feel like there's something that you're getting out of it. And then it even finds me. I didn't feed it this information. It says, hey, what's your role? Your role is speaking on AI, and then you're also on a panel in 2 days or the next day. So it gives me all of this information, which is spectacular, right? And then it gives me additional conference highlights. There's an award gala, and there's a networking event. So all of this stuff is just, again, if you haven't used it, these are the tools that provide all of this information like that. You don't have to find it yourself. It's right there at your fingertips, and it saves you hours of time. So then I said, hey, we have sponsors for this event. I would like you to pick 3 sponsors randomly, do a little research on them, tell me a little bit about how they are better than their competition, and then I'm going to have you do some additional opportunities for me. So it picks 3 sponsors. It picks Ramp, Relay, and Keepful. And then it goes on and it says, hey, here's a summary on Ramp, corporate card and spend management platforms, what they do, financial automation, unique features, real-time interaction, building insights. Does this sound right for the people? Anybody here from Ramp? No? Okay, well, then we'll move on. Oh, you do? Okay. And then it goes on to Relay. Relay is an online business banking for accountants and small, medium-sized business owners. What do? Business banking platform, unique features. What makes them stand out? It's spectacular. I don't know these companies because I'm not in your industry, but I certainly feel like I know a lot about them now. And then it does Keepful, client relation and file management for bookkeepers. So why do I show you this? Because this is what's next. That was awesome. Can you now randomly select 2 or of the 3 and highlight their marketing message to help promote their company and steal market share? Absolutely glad that was helpful. I've picked 2 standout features for each of the companies and their competition. So Relay, unique features, banking designed with accountants in mind. And then it tells you what that means, and then it even gives you a tagline that you can use as a recommendation. And because this is a back and forth, if you don't like that tagline, you can go back and say, that's okay, but I'd really like it to be more focused on blah. Here's my brand standards in my website. Can you make the tagline more appropriate for who we are as a company? And you have that back and forth conversation. Multiple free checking accounts, no fees ever. And then it did the same thing for Keepful, purpose-built for solo and small firms. You don't need a 10-person ops team to run your firm. Keepful gives solo bookkeepers enterprise-grade client management without the chaos. It's pretty cool. And there's several of them. And if you don't like them, you can have it go back and pick a couple more. And then we're like, okay, so select 1 or 2 brands and let's create an infographic. So the infographic it designed I didn't like. This does not look like it's on brand for Relay. So I went to another platform, Ideogram, and I asked for it. And this is what it gave me. It's more on brand. Closer to the font, closer to the color scheme. This could be a social media post for you. This could be an image. This could have voice behind it. Here's another version. Again, it's not done, but if you hand this to your graphic designer, it's 80% of the way there, and you don't have to pay them for 7 hours of work. You have to pay them for an hour and a half. That's what this does for you. And then, okay, now I want you to do a 30-second radio script. This is the fun part. So listen to this.
Tired of juggling all your business finances in one account? With Relay, you get up to 20 free checking accounts, each one perfect for budgeting, taxes, payroll, or that big equipment fund. No fees, no minimums, just clarity, control, and cash flow that finally makes sense. Whether you're an accountant or an entrepreneur, Relay helps you organize your money the smart way. Go to relayfi.com and make your money move with purpose. That's relayfi.com.
Everything AI generated in the matter of minutes. That's 11 labs. That's me taking the copy that ChatGPT gave me, pasting it into 11 labs, which is a voice platform, picking a voice that I think is on brand for Relay, and then hitting the play button, and it creates the audio. Just like that. I imported a sound file from BBC's sound file album. They have like 40,000 different audio clips for free. So if you have something that you want as like a background audio bed, you can do that. Or you can go to SoundRaw and you can do a music bed in the background. But think about this from a marketing and branding perspective. All of this was done in the matter of minutes on my laptop 3 days ago in my house in Duval. When I was in the corporate side of things, this would have taken a voiceover artist, a copywriting company, a graphic designer, a studio to produce it all in, a software platform to upload everything into, right? We're usually talking probably a minimum of $3,000 to $5,000, and that's if you're on the cheap end of it.
And you have to clean the audio.
And you have to, exactly. One of the best things about 11 Labs, I got to make sure I'm not running on time here. Okay, one of the best things about 11 Labs is that if you have a CEO who wants to be the voice of the brand, you can clone their voice. You just have to put in 5 one-minute clips of them talking, and it will clone their voice identically. And then when you want to do the video like we did at the very beginning with Roger, you would take a picture of your CEO and you would add the audio file with the CEO's voice, and that picture will actually speak like the CEO in their voice. It's spectacular. And on top of all of that, there's data analytics, where we put in financial analysis, or we've done financial statements for 3 years. I'm the president of the board of directors for one of the larger private schools in the Puget Sound area, and we have an issue with revenue. So I put in the last 3 years' budgets into ChatGPT 4 or 5, which is their research version, which everybody has access to if you pay for it, and it gave me a 10-page summary of everything that we need to keep an eye on based on the last 3 years' budgets. I didn't have to analyze it at all myself. I didn't have to get cross-eyed looking at spreadsheets. It did it all for me. So now I can go to our head of school and say, hey, here's what we're missing. Our charity events have dropped by 50%. Our camp costs have doubled. The revenue that we pay to teachers, we need to pay a little bit more because we're under market value. Those are the things that it can do for me, so I don't have to take my time to analyze it. Of course, I went back through some of them to confirm the details because I didn't want to look like an idiot and send it to the director of the school and have her say, wait a second, you're wrong. But I know it wasn't wrong because I went back and double-checked some of the details. So it can do things for you well beyond probably what you've ever imagined. Okay, what does the future look like? So the two things that I get asked the most about are AI agents. So my team has recently started doing the creation of these agents. So an agent, think of that as it does things autonomously for you based on instructions that you give it. So from my perspective, it would be something like, hey, I want you to create social media content for this client. Here's all the information about that client. Here's the social media we've done in the past. And I want you to create 10 new social media posts for me, and it will create those for me. And then I will say, now I need you to create 10 images for me that align perfectly with those posts, with the copy. And it will create the 10 images. And then I need you to post these twice a day for the next 5 days at whatever time you think is best based on what you know about our client. And then I need you to come back to me with the results 7 days after the last post. And then when you come back with the results, I need you to analyze the results. I need you to create new content that helps us maintain the growth that we're looking for from a social media channel. You can do that with emails. You can do that with financials. You can do that with weekly sales reports, where you upload your sales reports for the last year, and they're like, hey, I need your help to craft my new sales report. Here are the 3 things it needs to include. It'll redo your sales report like that. You don't have to spend an hour or 2 every week creating them anymore. It's crazy the kind of things that you can do. And then the next thing is something called a RAG system. And I think Roger kind of touched on this. This is a private company-side system where everything that you've digitized about your company forever goes into an AI platform that is on your company's side, so it's not available for the public. And it allows everybody in your organization to have answers to anything they might want to know about your company from the start of your company's history. So a new employee who just came on and says, hey, I want to start selling my services in Lehigh, Utah. It can go, we've already done that. Here's where we did it, and here's the results that we got. And it will pull all that information for you because it's all uploaded into something like an Airtable platform, and it speaks to the employees the way that we want the brand to speak to them. So there is no silo of knowledge anymore. It's crazy. GPT is leading the way. Here's video with a prompt. Amazing. All that is a 2-sentence prompt. This is me taking a still photo of a client's dog and then asking it to create a video. That's all from a still photo. So the things we can do now are crazy. And then they're saying that if you're an enterprise version owner or holder of these AI platforms, they're going to protect you from copyright laws. So you shouldn't have to worry about copyright issues. You can't take it and do something methodical that's dishonest, but as long as you're using the platforms in an honest and integrity-based way, they will protect you. Getty has its own image generating platform that shares profits with content creators, so it's not about stealing images. And then Meta has the glasses. All these companies are going all in on AI. We'll skip that one. And then this is what I said earlier, but it's not perfect. So I gave Claude 10 zip codes, and it gave me 10 cities, and all 10 of them were wrong, and this was for a client. So I put the same 10 zip codes into ChatGPT, and ChatGPT gave me the right cities for all 10 zip codes. So again, double check. It also told me a long time ago that I was the 30 under 30 marketer of the year, and I'm well over 30 2 years ago. So I don't know where it gets this stuff, but it does hallucinate once in a while. And then this is what I talked about earlier. ChatGPT and Claude are the best. Gemini refers people to the basics. Meta and Copilot are the least. And then one thing I want to do is, if everybody got value today, I want feedback. I want people to say, hey, John, the presentation was great. I would have liked if you had done this. We were hoping to be able to actually do some interaction with the audience today, live and in person, but we don't have the correct setup, so that's why I'm happy to have you come to my table, and I'll do some interaction with you live and in person. So give me any feedback you can, if you wouldn't mind. That way, as I travel around and I do these presentations, I can learn and grow. I'm actually doing another one on Thursday in St. Louis and Friday in San Diego. And then the last thing, I think I've got a couple seconds left. Yep, okay, 19 seconds, we're good. So you're owners of businesses. Just shout out, what percentage of your customers do you think trust you? I like it. Okay, so she's closer. So when you ask the owners of companies, they say 90% of their customers trust them. But then when you flip it around and you ask customers, do you trust the companies that you interact with? There is a 60-point gap. And think about it. When you see a McDonald's ad, does the burger really look like that? When you go buy a cell phone, do you really get the cheap price, or do they charge you all the extra fees? So keep that in mind. As we use AI, we can be the brand that consumers can trust. It's a lot easier, and it's a lot more frequent to be able to do it. That's me, that's my team. Hopefully everybody enjoyed value. Raise your hand if you got value today, please. Okay, if you didn't, find me. Okay? Thank you, everybody. I appreciate the time.